What's up, guys, and welcome to the Blues and Stripes. So just going to keep it short and simple. No need for an intro for this one. I mean, overall, it was just kind of a dull match. We really needed to be pushing for a winner, and to be fair to our senior, he did make a lot of subs that I think were attempting to do that. He set us up to be very defensively compact in the first half. In the second half, that's when he brought on a lot more of the attacking talent that we have, and unfortunately, we just didn't see any boost like we've been seeing from his subs before. We were creating a few chances, but the finishing quality just wasn't there. A lot of shots from outside the box that just were not on target. So overall, I mean, the performance today wasn't awful. I mean, we went to the Emirates, and yes, Arsenal were not going for it. They were not throwing everybody forward because they knew they had a one-goal lead to defend. So maybe it would have been a different match if they had something more to fight for. And I will say that's where the first leg does get more frustrating because we did gift them those easy goals. We could have come in either on a draw or maybe even a goal ahead. So it's really those first leg goals that really cost us coming into this, because I would have been interested to see how this game would have gone if it were a bit more open, if Arsenal were a bit more open. But as it was mostly them getting everybody behind the ball, and we already struggle to break down teams that do that don't have as many talented players that Arsenal do. So it was always going to be a tough ask. Am I disappointed? Of course. Obviously, giving away the late goal sucks, but it just happens whenever you're pushing for that equalizer. It's like when you send your goalkeeper up to try to get the late equalizer, the other team scores that last minute one. It's not like, oh, I can't believe we gave that one up. It happens. But of course, it is disappointing that now we're out. That's one cup down that we're not going to get. Obviously, letting Arsenal get to the final as well is very frustrating, and I'm sure their fans are going to be talking even more shit than they normally already do. Because hell, we've already seen how cocky they can be whenever they haven't won anything. Can you imagine how they're going to be when they actually win something this year? So yeah, overall, pretty disappointing, but just to talk about a few of the key elements. First of all, I will say Peter Banks today, I don't know what he was on. I don't know if he just didn't like Senior. I don't know if he doesn't like the color blue. But man, what a one-sided refereeing performance. It wasn't anything that killed the game, but it was that extra little frustration of, you have a moment where Eze takes a little kick in the back of the foot, goes down like a sack of potatoes, and it's a foul. Okay, so he's calling it tight. It's a tiny little contact, goes down easy. He wants to make sure it's a tight game, not a lot of aggressive fouls. But then the ball goes up to João Pedro. He gets kicked in the back of the leg. He goes down. Not a foul. You have a moment where Gusto goes in, pokes the ball past Tincapié, who then sticks his leg in. Gusto pulls his leg out so he doesn't get kicked, goes over, yellow card for simulation. Okay, so you want him to take the kick. Understood. But then Eze gets the ball, couple little touches on the back of his leg, and then he takes 2 steps after those contacts and then falls over. And that's a foul. It was so one-sided in the 50-50 challenges. He thankfully didn't make any big game-changing decisions. There were a couple I was a little concerned about. You have Fofana jumping up with his arm up on top of somebody's shoulder and hit his arm. They could easily give that if they wanted to. It's not a handball, but could see him giving it. You got the moment whenever Chalobah goes sliding in, wins the ball, but his momentum takes him into Martinelli. I'm sitting there thinking, well, they could look at this one too if they wanted to. But thankfully, he didn't make any big game-changing decisions like that. But it definitely was very one-sided when it came to all just the little nippy fouls and all the dives happening throughout the match. It was very tightly called whenever we went in on an Arsenal player. But when an Arsenal player goes in on us, it almost took them having to actually break somebody's leg sometimes. It started very early on too, with Cucurella going to pass the ball back and Matty Awake dipping his shoulder and shoving him off the field as he's passing it away. And the referee just goes, oh, that's not a foul. But anyways, it was just a little added frustration to a night that was already kind of frustrating because we weren't really getting anything going in the final third. Yeah, don't really have any issues with the back line though. Sanchez made a couple of decent saves, very commanding in his box as well. The back line, looking at it, was concerning with Fofana, Chalobah, and Hato as the back three, and then Cucurella and Gusto as the wing backs. But ultimately, I thought they all did their jobs pretty well. Fofana didn't really see a lot of those issues that I'm used to seeing from him, losing track of runners and all that. Chalobah, really monstrous back there, going and winning a ton of challenges. Hato did pretty well too. I think he does better at left back than he does at center back, but maybe playing on the left side of a back three, he seems like he can do pretty well there, so maybe something to look at going forward. Cucurella was all over the pitch. I think allowing him to be a wing back did give him the opportunity to get forward and cause some trouble on the other side of the ball. Gusto on the right side, it's Gusto. If you watch my videos, you know how I feel about him. I don't think he's good enough to be a Chelsea player. He wasn't awful today. He had some moments where he did what he does well, gave us a lot of energy down that right side, but there were also moments where he did what I don't like to see, which is giving the ball away too easily. His touch isn't good enough. Defensively, there are times whenever he goes diving into a challenge when he doesn't need to. There are just moments that I look at him and just know he's not good enough to be at Chelsea. Caicedo and Santos in the midfield I thought did well, kept their midfield three from really having a lot of joy in there. Fernandez as well did a good job of tracking back. Even in the second half, whenever he got pushed back deeper with Caicedo, I've talked about before, that does leave our midfield kind of exposed, but I thought he worked hard again today and provided some help alongside Caicedo that was very much needed at the time. And then finally, you had João Pedro mostly playing in the center. Delap was sort of playing off to the right with Enzo off to the left. It was no surprise for me that Delap was the first one hooked. He was just not giving us anything today, which isn't too much of a surprise, but was interesting to see him in a different area. He was getting involved a bit more. The problem is he's just not good on the ball, so every time the ball went to him, that's where our attack would go to die. João Pedro, though, once again, phenomenal performance. Doesn't get the goal, unfortunately, to solidify that great performance, but the amount of times he's working hard to keep hold of the ball, fighting with that back line, keeping possession, keeping it moving. It's another really good, hard-working performance. And like I said, it's unfortunate he doesn't get the goal. I really hope this doesn't cause a lot of people to go, oh, so he's just not good enough. Because if you look at it, he was probably our most dangerous threat in the first half until Delap came off. Looking at the subs that came on, though, first was Palmer and Esteval. I was really hoping to see that combination of Palmer, Esteval, and Pedro work together. For Palmer, I do think we saw a bit more of what we're used to seeing from him. Did well to keep possession in some tight areas, kept the ball moving. His final pass could have been a bit better, but I think part of that is it was so congested in the box because Arsenal were basically dropping everybody in there. So it's hard for him to find that pass through 5 or 6 players in front of him. But the build-up play, I think, is where we saw a bit more of the Palmer we're used to seeing. So I'm hoping that means in a couple games we'll see him get back to his best. Esteval, unfortunately, didn't look like he was quite ready for this match. He had a couple of moments where he did something clever with the ball, but on the whole of it, I don't think we saw the best out of him today, but also knowing that he's just come back from a personal issue, the chance his head is not fully here, so it may have been too soon for him to come back. I'm not going to put too much pressure on him since he is a kid and he just possibly lost a family member. We still don't really know what it was. Garnacho also came on and didn't really bring much off the bench, which is I was hoping to see something from him since we saw that in the first leg. But yeah, didn't really give us much. Ball only went out to him a few times because he was marked out of the game for the most part. But even when it did get out to him, he didn't give us anything. And then Achapong came on mostly, I think, because Gusto was feeling something earlier on. And didn't really give us much, but didn't hurt us either. So it was a good outing from him. And I hope we get to see him more because, like I said before, I think he's a better option than Gusto. Yeah, all in all, like I said, it's disappointing to get knocked out of the semifinals, to let Arsenal go through too. But it was always going to be tough. Throw on top of that the fact that James was out today. He would have been a great help back there. So I think for what it is, we put in a decent performance. I think on another day, if Palmer and Esteval are a little bit closer to their best, I think we've got a good chance of putting in a win here. But we just got to keep on moving on, keep picking up wins in the league and also in the FA Cup and Champions League too. And hopefully at the end of the season, we're top 4, hopefully a different trophy in our bag. But that'll do it for me. So with all that being said, cue the outro. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching that video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe for more Chelsea previews, reviews, and talks. Also, let me know what your thoughts are down below, whether you agree, disagree, or just want to call me stupid. Let me know, we can talk about it, discuss all that good stuff. Also, if you want to hear me talk about TV shows and movies that I like, check out my channel Mason the Brock Henderson, where I upload reviews every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. As well as if you want to watch me play through video games and try to make it entertaining for you, I have a Let's Play channel, Meso Hendo Plays, where I upload every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. Also, if you do want to help me grow this channel, I do have a Patreon where all the funds and donations will go directly into improving this channel's quality. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to y'all later. Peace out, and up the Chels.